I'm sitting here in the boat, guys, thinking of the month of November and how I have so many years in history of having great fishing during this month. A lot's happening, guys, and I know I've been full-time the last 3. This is my 4th year now. But then previously, when I coached football, November was the time where I can get back on the water as soon as our football season was over, which was typically around Thanksgiving. But guys, I love this month, and I'm going to talk about baits. We got weather changing. I mean, it is pouring and it's cold. We have a big front coming tomorrow, and I'm going to talk about ways I fished where I've gone. As you guys have followed me, the Fishing Coach YouTube channel, I do a lot of offshore bass fishing, forward facing. I teach the electronics. I teach the live scope. That's my biggest business deal, is getting in your boat, teaching your live scope. So I'm going to talk about that at the end, but I'm mainly going to talk about the beginning, like the other ways that still catch bass during this month. And even with weather changes, this first one's going to be, I made a pretty sweet video. I thought it was sweet. Did pretty good on bass fishing declassified, guys. One of my first years of making content, and it was about when the weather changes and you got these cold fronts coming, like we have right now, rain, and how there are bites out there. One of my favorite bites is with the Lipless crankbait, and so I have my box of Lipless crankbaits here sitting in front of me. That are not like the shad, not shad. These are shad colors, but they're not the crawfish colors. So here's one right here. It's the Ozuri. Rattling Lipless 5 is at the Ozuri, and I got a couple other ones here, Strike Kings, all that good stuff. So the Lipless crankbait, though, what I would look for is, man, I'm going to be power fishing shallow, but I'm looking for rock transitions. I'm looking for rounded points, where it's that pea gravel to chunk rock, and stumps could be another deal too. But I was covering a lot of water with this, and one thing I learned with this weather that got cold is your shallower fish, are going to get tight to cover, which could be rock in this instance. And those transition changes are just like little stopping spots. And that bigger chunk rock is like the first big heated object, potentially, maybe in my mind, to where crawfish and things are living at. And then you're banging this thing off them rocks. And man, I had a great time. Made a video on it with the weather change. And I might even make a video upcoming, with the weather changing and stuff. As tomorrow I'm going to get back out and making content. Guys, if you see me though, let's say you're a Fishing Coach fan. If you're new to the channel, guys, I've been in an Icon the past 6 months. Icon's gone, I'm back in the Bass Cat. So my Fishing Coach fans have been following with me for 3-4 years now. I'm back in the Cat, and I'm going to be making content in the Cat next couple weeks. I might be in another Icon too. I have an Icon coming. Be ready for that boat reveal. It's going to be big time. And all that's because of you guys following me, going on the water lesson trips, all that good stuff. So much appreciative. But I'm back in it. And I've had some people joke me, dude, you can't go out and catch fish and that. And this is the roots. This little boat here, love it. It might be for sale beginning next year, depending, guys, if you're interested in a 2007 Bass Cat Pantera 2 with a brand new 25 4-stroke on it that has 7 years of warranty. Send me a message. 30 hours on the engine. Anyway, great boat. The next one, though, guys, so that's Lipless crankbait. Like I said, could be the front half creeks, back half creeks. But I'm looking for those little rounded points, flatter spots with transition change. The next one is going to another cranking method, guys. I got my square bills out, but we're going to talk about a particular square bill. They're flat-sided square bills. This is the Mega Bass one. It is silent, and then I think this is the 6 cents one right here, okay? So I love the flat-sided square bills as that water starts getting colder. You hear about the square bill back of creeks, square bill back of creeks, and that's a deal. But I like going to the flat side ones. It's just a little different, okay? And then definitely that silent one. Those tougher days, seems like that silent one gets more bites. But typically, man, it's going to, which is funny as I'm looking. Look, I got another Lipless crankbait here. I need to get that to my Lipless crankbait box. But half of my box here of square bills is normal square bills, and then we got the flat-sided square bills. I love that flat-sided square bill. Guys, information and rods, one thing about crankbait fishing with that Lipless, I typically go more of a medium heavy, but the square bill and medium heavy is going to be moderate action, but with the square bill it's going to be more I typically cranking. But you're going to want a cranking rod. You're going to want a rod that's stiff enough, and I say stiff enough, I'm not going to give you like crazy lingo, but you want a rod that has enough give. So like that worm rod's going to be more stiffer, your Alabama rig rod, jig rod might be more stiffer, but that cranking rod, you want something with more give so it don't rip these things out of their mouth. The next one, guys, which I've caught I've caught so many fish on this next lure, definitely November leading to December, than probably these other ones because I fished it longer. I later my years before I went full-time, I started learning about the crankbait deal, and I just fell in love with it. But before that, the only way I thought you could catch fish was offshore, and that's all I did. I tell people that all the time. I didn't like, think you can catch them on the bank, and I learned that later. But the other one is a jig. So here's my jig box, and it's a madhouse. And I just, on my recent video, I talked about the finesse jig this time of year. I still have this big jig on from earlier with the bodega, and I'm still going to probably throw this just to see. But at my lakes, man, I think I'm going to start going down that smaller trailer. So for some example, now I couldn't find my fish at the moment offshore jig. It's somewhere in there, or it might be in my backpack that I carry when I do my on-the-water lessons if I go in your boat. But right here, let's say a half-ounce jig right here. Now the skirt's a little longer. Typically, like, that I play with the skirt, cutting it here, but typically if the skirt's bigger, it just falls slower. Got a little crawfish trailer, but this is typically like the size. Now, with a jig, okay, I can remember one trip in Thanksgiving week where me and a buddy of mine, Coach Prescott from Bryan, he's now the fishing coach at Bryan High School, but Reed, we smoked them at Ouachita, fishing the middle of a creek ditch. This was like 2013, guys, right? Like, we're throwing this thing in the middle, 40, 50 foot of the channel. There's rock down there. There wasn't timber on this part of Ouachita. Dragging these things, catching fish. But what I would do, guys, is try to look for that first drop, like 15 to 20, 15 to 30, 20 to 30. I'm looking for that drop, and I'm throwing this and dragging it down there. On a lot of my Highland Reservoir lakes and even Lowland Reservoir lakes, I mean, crawfish and brim are a big part of the food chain. And this right here is something that, like, like them fish are going to eat it. Like I said, it's with the crawfish, but you're fishing for fish on the bottom, which I'm going to get to later. As I learn with the forward facing, and I teach on my lessons as we're about to get into, November's changing, guys. There's a lot of fish going to the bottom, and they can live on the bottom year round, like depending on your lakes. But like, if you have been fishing with me or watching the channel, you've been seeing a lot of suspended bass, and them Highland reservoirs, they'll suspend. But as it starts getting colder, they're not always out there, and that's where people are like, "Hey, Jimmy, where are they?" And I'm like, "Hey, they're on the bottom." And so I learned a lot about catching fish on the bottom with a jig, because you're dragging it down there, you're fishing it slow. And this was pre-live scope, but now with live scope, I can kind of see them a little bit. And typically, you know, you're going to drag this thing still through them. But I love fishing this around rock, and I'll fish it deep. But that's just something there. Now, you can still fish it shallow. There are some days, man, where those dudes will creep up there, and that's something where I like to offshore fish, as I'm thinking, like, if I'm targeting fish 30 to 40 feet, where's their easy access to the bank? Because a lot of the fish I catch, I don't think they live out there year-round, even in the summer. That's what I tell people. Like, I don't just think these fish live in 40, 50 foot the whole time. Like, they can easily drive up there, swim up there, and eat a brim or something else. And so just think about that as you're offshore fishing. Like, hey, if they're here, or when I'm looking for areas, what's the easy access? What's the transition? And a lot of my areas I target are transition areas. So if I'm targeting that ditch in 50 foot, like, that bank's right there. And think about you driving a car down the interstate, highway. There's so many ways you can go. The same with them fish, and the same with this jig right here of targeting them. So football, it's football season, football jig. That was always the saying. I just remember that there. Now, guys, let's get into some of the fun stuff, okay? People that have fished with me lately, I've talked about it, and it's about to be on my deck. Alabama rig. I got 2 rigged up right here from last year. They're not even on my post yet. But something about the fall Alabama rig bite, it's fun. It seems like I get more of my doubles and triples during this time of year. And if you hit that first Alabama rig madness, it's fun. And so I just got 2 rigged up here. I got the Black's Custom Lures Widowmaker. I got the Yum Flash Mob. You know, I throw a bunch of different Alabama rigs. This one I have heavier jig heads on. I have a variety of jig heads. This one I have lighter ones on, I believe, like the 8th or the 16th. And so I have 2 different types for where my fish are at. If they're deeper on cover, or if they're more suspended. Like, you know, if they're suspended up in trees, I'm going to throw this lighter one. If they're more deep on rock, I'm going to throw one with heavier heads, okay? Now, this one has bigger swim baits on it. And I kind of remember that from being in the spring. Last time I fished this, they were eating bigger. We were fishing, they were eating bigger bait fish, so we had bigger ones on. But Alabama rig, season's here. On this Alabama rig, okay, going to throw a 7.8 heavy fast. I have a level NGX in there. There's a 7.8 heavy fast. It's broken in. I didn't even talk about it, but on this jig rod here, it's the Rake 7.6 medium heavy fast. I'm going to throw 16 to 20 pound test typically. I used to go all 20, but I started going lighter, and that kind of goes for me on confidence of working fish and catching them with the spinning rod, and my water being clear. So that's something I'm going to kind of do moving forward. If you saw a lot of my footage, guys, last year, near this spring, I started doing some different things with the Alabama rig, and kind of stay tuned with it. You know, I was putting hover rigs on them. I was doing a lot of shaking stuff with them, and I'm kind of looking forward this fall of testing more of that out, keeping it kind of quiet. Now, all right, you guys follow the fishing coach enough, you know I'm talking about it. The Flutter spoon. And so this is going to be one of my other ones now. The Flutter spoon, though, it's very, there's a time and place for it. If I'm at Lake Ouachita in the clearest water, I might not throw this as much, because my fish at Ouachita, they're going after small shad, you know, and there might be one or two. If I was fishing a derby, I'd throw it more. But this is going to be for my lakes where there's bigger gizzards, bigger crappies, some more stained water. And there's a time and place for it. Maybe Lake. We go. That's a good one. Get the boat! Yes! Look at that fish! Woo! Woo! I just boat flipped that. That might be this week. I'm going to go to a lake and film content and maybe get some fish catches of this for you guys. As I mentioned earlier, I'm about to get some content. I've been behind. We're back at it. I did 18 trips last month in October. New babies, you guys know, baby 3, which the baby's doing well and mama's doing well. And then I'm doing okay too, but forget me. This is all about mama, baby, and kiddos. But it's been chaotic with the 3 kids under 4 years old at our house right now. And so I'm going to be trying to get more content this month. I got 10 trips right now in November. If you're interested, like I got some trips later in November, kind of organized. I kind of getting ready. I have open dates, so let's kind of schedule one up there. But the Flutter spoon, I'm not going to talk much about it. I'm throwing this 710 medium heavy, moderate fast. It's the glide bait rod by Level that's now Jimmy's Flutter spoon rod of the fishing coach, but it was made for glide bait fishing, and I turned it into my Flutter spoon rod. I'm going to throw this more on flatter areas where there could be a drop nearby, it could be fishing rock, brush. I'm not afraid to throw it in wood, but I'm not going to be throwing this in open water. It's going to be flats, drops, kind of thing in there. And those flats can be on points, humps, whatever, okay? Throwing on 20-pound test, though. All right. You guys know. Now we're about to get talking to it. The jig head minnow. I can't even put this up. Here goes the jig head. I got 2 of them right here. Okay. I got a 3/8 ounce baby Z2 and a 3/8 ounce core tackle strut head with, I just went with the shimmy shad by Bass Mooch. I've been testing this out. It's done really well. Okay, guys, now with this, though, as I'm about to talk about November's still great because we're going to see some suspended and throw at them, but they're going to start creeping to the bottom, and we're going to be targeting fish with these on the bottom on our Highland lakes. If you're a Tennessee River guy or Gunnersville, kind of like, you know, you and Fork, y'all guys know about your schools on the bottom, but they're easier to find. I mean, I know they're like Fork, I get it. It's so much pressure and you can't always find them, but like they're easier to find because your lakes are shallower. You're looking for them in 15, 20, and I know in Tennessee River guys can get in 30 feet. But guys on like my lakes where they can get in 70, 60 feet, 80 feet on the bottom, it's not easy to find them. And we will go hunting for them and find them with this. And we will pull them off, see these big schools. And it's not just Ouachita, it's like Hamilton, all my lakes. And so that's one thing I'm excited about, as much as I know about it now. Looking forward this year. We're already starting to do it on my trips. Like, we're already catching them off the bottom. They've not been the big ones, though. They've been the dinks. The big ones are still kind of floating around and high, but soon those bigger 4 and 5 pounders are going to get there. I got 2 different rods here. I got the NGX Cork and the NGX. This one I think is the 7.4 medium light fast. I love it. This one's the 7.1 medium light fast. But man, there's something about, like I said, it's fun catching them on these things. And I got some other stuff I'm about to try. I'm not talking about yet. Y'all stay tuned for this upcoming months up through the winter. I'm going to try to start doing some different things and try to get ahead of the people before it gets out there. I always talk about the Toledo Bend massacre that happened. We were kind of on this and doing it and starting to teach people on it a little bit, and then the Toledo Bend massacre happened and everybody kind of wanted to learn it. But there's some other stuff we're about to start doing because fishing adapts, fishing changes. I'm not afraid to change and trying, and all about it is for me to get better, but to teach y'all as well, because I'm all about helping you guys catch fish with live scope or without. But I got it. I'm going to use it, and you don't got to have the big fancy icon like I've had. You can do it in this 20-year-old boat like I have, and I've done it for 5 years, okay? But I'm very blessed to be in that icon I got coming up. It's wild. So guys, appreciate you. Thank you very much. Any questions, leave down below. Let me know what y'all think. What's y'all's lures for November? Like I said, I know it's football jig season because it's football season, but there's other ways to catch them. I get it. Muddy water, spinnerbait, bladed jig, all that good stuff. I've caught a bunch of fish on the blade. What up, everybody? Welcome to the Fake Juice part of the episode. Here we are. Got the cat rigged and ready. We're going to go out tomorrow, make some content. First, actually, day in October. What's it? It's like October 28th when you're... Tomorrow's October 28th or 27th. I don't know when y'all going to watch this, but it's my first day this month that, like, I'm going to have a day of content. All your content you've seen that are fishing days have literally been, like, after on the water lessons or right before. And you guys, I'm just going to say, and we're going to talk about this Fake Juice, what it's about. You don't understand how, like, hard it is just to go out and get a video in under 2 hours. And I've been so dialed on fish and kind of known, and so I've gotten some of that. But I know in October I've kind of got behind, and I'm going to try to get back on my schedule for content. Look at the bass cat. I'm about to get back to it. But anyway, guys, so on this Fake Juice, grateful. My wife's been reading a book on raising grateful kids. And since we have 3 of them, and so I'm going to kind of talk about grateful. Grateful is kind of like definition of like showing appreciation or being thankful for things you have and abilities and anyway, you know, like just things, right? Just being grateful. And so that's what I'm going to kind of share is something I've been grateful for lately. And it's interesting because like I'm grateful for so much. And I'm sharing this to you guys so maybe you can think, write down things you're grateful for, maybe talk with your spouse about it or family, your kids, and just kind of let them know of things to be thankful for. And, man, I'm grateful right now for just not just the healthy family, I'm going to say, and the kids, like that stuff's like up here, like on the grateful chart. And that's easy for me to say, but let me show you what I'm grateful for that's kind of like wild. But it's for what I'm doing right now that pays the bills in the house. And it's fishing. It's around what we're doing, what you're watching. Man, I'm so grateful to be able to take people out and kind of create a little business, man, that's done something that's helped people catch more bass and then impacting. And you guys watching, like, I've talked with so many people when I'm on my on the water lessons, my guide trips, about our faith, religion, and go through like life stories. And man, like, and I think about it, like I'm just. It's an opportunity, and I'm very, very grateful for it. And like today, man, it was rainy today, guys. Like it was washed out. I was supposed to take somebody fishing today, and the dude called me the day before, said it was supposed to lightning and rain. I didn't even like look at the weather. Luckily, we canceled. But like I got to be able to take my kids to Mother's Day out, run some errands in town, pick them up, and then hang with them. My wife had an OB appointment, you know, and so like. I was very grateful just to be able to do that. And it's just, it's that's what I'm just saying, like, guys, like, kind of write down what you are grateful for and then be able to teach your kids and to be able to raise them that way. And because, like this wasn't easy. This didn't just happen overnight. Like, I just didn't wake up one day and do this content stuff. Like, right now I'm filming this. It's 9 o'clock, okay? And I'm going to go in there, edit the video that you just watched, make the thumbnail, everything. I'll be done by 11, and then I'm gonna wake up at 5 o'clock and go to the water and make content. And so you got to work hard, but you got to be grateful and humble as you go through it. Because working hard, I believe you will have a reward, and it's not always a financial benefit. It's gonna be like, I believe the Lord. And that's why I prayed to our kids earlier. I prayed, like I was in my prayer with my 2 little kids, the James and Annie. The Mia was with Mama. But as I put her in bed and prayed, I was like, hey, thank you, Lord, for knowing our needs and meeting them where we are so we can just be thankful and go. And like I said, and some people I know, people make a lot of money, some people don't. But in our situation, I'm very grateful for where we're at. And so, like, and then now if you make a lot of money and do it right, like I'm not like, dude, like you go make money. Like we talked about that in church last Sunday. Like people can go make money and do good things with it. And so like I'm not going there, but like I pray that like, hey, we're grateful for what we have as a family, things, food on the table, you know, Bass Cat. You know, I've been spoiled with that icon, but man, like, I'm looking at this boat and it's about to, like, I'm being for real, like I already almost have this thing sold, but like, I don't even know if I want to sell it. Like, I love this thing. Thank you guys for watching and being a part and supporting. Like I said, very, very grateful, and we're going to keep it rolling. And appreciate you guys. Let's go get after it tomorrow. And hey, come back next week. Hopefully we got some footage. I got 2 trips lined up for content making. Ouachita, and then we're going to go to my favorite lake in Arkansas.